Today the topic is on functions and how to find the inverse of a function. I'll start with a question here. The function f of x is equal to 3x minus 2. Function g of x is equal to x squared. And function h of x is equal to 3 to the power of x. First part, find f of negative 3. From the question, we can very clearly see what is f of x. So f of x is equal to 3x minus 2. Now they want you to find the value of f of negative 3. In place of x, you can see a negative 3 here. So you're going to replace this x with a negative 3 and you minus it by 2, which is 3 times negative 3, which is negative 9, minus 2, giving me an answer negative 11. Question B, find the value of x when f of x is equal to 19. So they are asking you to find the value of x. So the given condition is f of x is equal to 19. Now what is f of x here? Going back to the data given, f of x is equal to 3x minus 2. So 3x minus 2 is equal to 19. One of the common errors seen is that the students, the moment they see f of x equals 19, they just replace the x with 19 here and try to simplify and find the value for f of x, which is a wrong approach. Why? Here they are not giving the value for x, it is f of x that is 19. So your f of x 3x minus 2 is equal to 19, 3x is equal to 19 plus 2, you're solving a linear equation in the variable x. So 3x is equal to 21, which gives you an x equal to 7. Part C, find f of h of 2. Here, the function f is a function of h of 2. Now when you start from this point. So first you find what is h of 2. For that, you go back to the data given. You know that h of x is equal to 3 to the power x. So if h of x is equal to 3 to the power x, then h of 2, so here in place of x, you have 2. So in place of x here, you're going to replace it with this 2. I hope you understood that. The x is the part which is getting replaced by the value 2. So h of 2 is going to be 3 square, which is 9. Again, don't write 3 times 2 is 6. No, it is 3 squared, which is 9. Now your answer doesn't end there. Now you have found the value for h of 2. So you're going to put this 9 into the function of f of x. So you're going to find f of 9 now. Again, back to the question, you have f of x is equal to 3x minus 2. So f of 9 is going to be 3 times, in place of x you write 9, minus 2, which is going to be 27 minus 2, giving you an answer 25. So the answer for f of h of 2 is equal to 25. Part D, find g f of x plus f of x plus x. So you have f of x here, which is 3x minus 2. You want g f of x, that means in place of, now g is a function of f of x. So in place of g of x, in place of x, you're going to write 3x minus 2. So you're going to find g of 3x minus 2. Why are we writing 3x minus 2 here? Because we want g f of x. So the function g of x is going to depend on f of x, which is going to be equal to, now g of x is x squared. So g of 3x minus 2 is going to be 3x minus 2 the whole squared, which you can expand it using the identity a minus b the whole square. So I'll have a squared minus 2 times a times b plus b squared, giving me 9x squared minus 12x plus 4. So this is just my gf of x. So let me just write it back here. I have 9x squared minus 12x plus 4 plus my f of x is 3x minus 2 plus x. So I have all my part done. It's just simplification that is left, the 9x squared term, and I have a 12x, a 3x and an x. So minus 12 plus 3 plus 1, so giving me a minus 8x, and I have 4 and a minus 2, so 4 minus 2 giving me a plus 2. This is the final answer. Now let's start discussing about finding the inverse of a function. First, I would like to give an example of what a function and what is the meaning of finding the inverse of a function. Let f of x equals to x plus 1, which means for a set of values for x, you have a set of values for f of x. You call the set of values for x as the input, and you get a set of values for y or the f of x, which is your output. Now, by finding the inverse, we mean to say that we are finding the reverse. For example, you are trying to find the values for x for the given set of y values. Can you see this? You're getting back the x data here. So it's like you're doing something. You're doing a function and you undo it. This is how a function and its inverse relate to each other. We have different methods to find the inverse of a function. I will be discussing two methods here. Method 1, which is using the flow diagram, and method 2, which is using the algebraic method. But the algebraic method is most preferable. Now you look at this diagram. You have an input x, which is represented by this flow diagram, giving an output function of f of x equal to 5x minus 2 over 3. Now talking about the inverse of this function, it's going to be like you're just reversing the process. You multiply, for divide it becomes multiply, and you get a 3x. Then the next step, you can see it was subtract before. Here you're going to add 2, so it makes it 3x plus 2. The next step, it's going to be divide by 5, and finally this is how the inverse function looks like. So you can say f inverse of x is going to look like this. Now this is just for your information. In this video we'll be focusing more on the algebraic method. I have taken a simple question here to show you how the algebraic method can be used with the key steps. Now I'll write down the key steps here so that if you want to take note of it, you can. Step 1, you assume let f inverse. Now this is how we write inverse, f and a negative 1 there. F inverse of x is equal to y. In step 2, you write the function as y equals 5x minus 2. Step 3 is switching x and y. So how do you do that? In place of x, you write y, and in place of y, you write x. So x is equal to 5y minus 2. Can you see here? in place of y, I have written x, and in place of x, I have written y. This is the meaning of switching here. Now step 4, which is the final step, will be make y the subject. That is by rearrangement, and I will be writing, I have x equals pi y minus 2 from my previous step. So making the subject, I will switch x plus 2 is going to be pi y. So I want 5 alone. It's going to be x plus 2 over 5 is my y. So writing it in the form y equals x plus 2 over 5. We had already assumed in step 1 that let f inverse of x be y. So we can finally conclude that f inverse of x plus 2 over 5. So this is your final answer. Now let us apply the skill into some exam style questions. You can pause the video and try to solve it by yourself and then look for the answer. Question 1, part A. G of f of negative 2. We start from f of negative 2. We have f of x as x squared plus 2. So f of negative 2 is going to be, in place of x, you will substitute negative 2. Don't forget to put the brackets. So it's going to be negative 2 squared plus 2. So negative 2 squared is 4, 4 plus 2 giving you a 6. Now this is not your final answer. You're going to find, now you have found f of negative 2, which is 6. Now you're going to find what is g of 6 then. So going back to the data given, you have g of x is x plus 2 the whole square. So g of 6 is going to be, in place of x you will write 6 plus 2 the whole square, which is 8 square giving you a 64. So your final answer is 64. 1b, h inverse of 22. Now from the question you don't have h inverse, all that you have is h of x. So first you have to find the inverse function. Now from this question, following the previous steps, I will start with writing y equals 3x minus 5. This is my step 1. Step 2 is switching. So x equals 3y minus 5. And now I'm trying to make y my subject. So x plus 5 over 3 is my y. So I have found my h inverse of x, which is x plus 5 divided by 3. Since I have the value for h inverse of x, which is x plus 5 over 3, my question is to find h inverse of 22. That means in place of x I'm going to replace with 22. So 22 plus 5 over 3, which is 27 over 3, giving me an answer 9. So this is my answer. Question 2a, find g of 6. I have g of x, so g of 6 is going to be 2 times 6 minus 3, 12 minus 3, which is going to be 9. F of 2x, I have f of x as x cubed, so f of 2x is going to be, in place of x, I'm going to write 2x, so it's going to be 2x the whole cube. Please don't apply the cube only to the x, no, we are replacing the complete x with 2x, so it's 2 cubed, which is 8, and x cubed. This is the answer. Now I have question B, solve f of g of x is equal to 125. Let me just erase the space. Now g of x is 2x minus 3, and f of g of x means you're going to put the value for g of x in place of x. So g of x in f of x, it's going to look like this. F of 2x minus 3 is equal to 125. So f of 2x minus 3, so it's going to be 2x minus 3 the whole cube. because f of x is x cubed. So here in place of x you have 2x minus 3. So I will write 2x minus 3 the whole cube, which is 125. Taking the cube root on both sides, I can write 2x minus 3 is equal to 5. So 2x equals 5 plus 3. 2x is going to be 8. So which means x is going to be 8 divided by 2, 4. So my answer here is 4. Find the inverse function g inverse of x. I have g of x as 2x minus 3. So let me assume let g inverse of x be y. So my first step will be y equals 2x minus 3. This is step 1. Step 2 is switching. I have x equals 2y minus 3. Now I got to make y my subject. So x plus 3 is 2y. So x plus 3 over 2 is my y. So the answer is g inverse of x is equal to x plus 3 over 2. The final question for the day. I will be splitting the middle term as x squared minus 2x minus 1x plus 2 is equal to 0. Now if you're not sure about the sum and product method where the sum here is -3 and the product is 2, you can go back to the video to learn it and then come back to solve this. So here it is x times x minus 2 minus 1 times x minus 2 giving you a 0. I have x minus 1 times x minus 2 is equal to 0. So x minus 1 is equal to 0 or x minus 2 is equal to 0. So my values are going to be x equals 1 or x equals 2. So you can write the values here, x equals 1 or x equals 2, which is the solution for the given equation. That's it.